Hey everyone, it's Kanga here, and today I'm going to be talking about what I think are the top 10 weapons currently in Apex Legends. And obviously this is being recorded like a week after release of Season 4, so if you're watching in like a few months from now, this could be a bit outdated, just want to point that out. But yeah, this is all in my opinion, just like I did with the Legends tier list, but I do encourage you to tell me below how you would rate these weapons differently, as obviously we're all going to have our own different opinions. Also, I do want to say that obviously any gun can be good if you know what you're doing with it, even the Mozambique. But this is more of just like which guns I think are the easiest to get the most value out of. And one last thing is that I'm going to be like excluding the care package weapons. So the Kraber, Mastiff, and Devotion, obviously they're incredibly good guns, but I'm not going to be putting them in this just because they're care package weapons. Of course, they're going to be like the best. But with that all being said, let's get into the rankings. So starting us off at number 10 is going to be the R301. Now, the R301 is one of my favorite weapons right now, and I also feel like it's a pretty strong, just like all-round weapon. It's great at close range, although not the best, and also pretty strong at longer ranges, although still not the best there as well, obviously. On top of this, with the anvil receiver attachment, you can deal a ton more damage for longer ranges. And I was tempted to put this gun higher on the list, and if you were limited to only have one gun per game like that, if that was an LTM or something, I reckon this would probably be like the best for that. But considering you can obviously have two weapons and typically a longer range gun and a shotgun plus SMG or something like that is the best way to go. So for that reason, I'm going to leave the R301 a little higher up the list, but definitely one of the stronger weapons in the game as far as I'm concerned. Now for number 9 is the Sentinel. This bolt action is overtaking the longbow as far as I'm concerned, but I do just tend to like bolt actions more. But it can also be used at close ranges in a pinch. A little known fact about the Sentinel is that like the Kraber, it can actually penetrate enemies, meaning that you can hit like collateral shots, which is pretty interesting. And I didn't actually know this until I did a little more research on the gun. I'm not a massive fan of the whole charge feature, and I think it's a waste of a shield battery, but it is pretty nice being able to take out all of an opponent's shields with the body shot. It's pretty poor for no scoping when compared to something like the triple take, but I think you can use it similarly to the Wingman, in the sense that you can not only slowly burn down their health from far away, but also it can be used for close range for a high damage shot before following it up with like an SMG or something. Another thing to point out is it does take a while to switch to the Sentinel, so don't really rely on it for follow-up damage, and instead make the Sentinel like the initial damage that you used to engage a fight with. I'm personally having a bit of a tough time figuring out the bullet travel time and drop for the Sentinel, and just hitting moving targets as a whole, but I'm not the best sniper. But I think once you get those things down, it's incredibly important, like if you want to be like the best with this weapon, and being the best with the Sentinel I reckon is incredibly powerful, especially right now, as it is a new weapon, and new weapons tend to be pretty strong. Anyway, next up we have the Hemlock for the number 8 spot. I've always liked burst weapons in basically all the shooter games I've played, and the Hemlock is no exception to this. In my opinion, it's one of the best assault rifles for long range, if not the best, as its recoil is really easy to manage on the burst fire mode, and obviously you can also have the single fire shot mode too, which is actually the fastest single shot rate of fire for any gun in the game at the moment, which I didn't know. But overall, the Hemlock is a really reliable gun that doesn't need any attachment to shine, and can be used at close range too if you run out of ammo for your other weapon and are forced to finish off an enemy with it, sorry. But I think other assault rifles are a little bit better at close range, but Hemlock dominates long range for assault rifles as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, with that in mind, I'm going to be putting Hemlock at number 8 on this list. Next at number 7 is going to be another assault rifle, this time the Flatline. Now, I'm personally not a massive fan of this gun and tend to prefer other assault rifles like the Hemlock over it. However, it's hard to ignore the consistency of this gun, and it seems to be the weapon of choice for many players. Comparing it to the Hemlock, I feel like what the Flatline lacks in range, it definitely makes up for in close range potential. I personally prefer the Hemlock, but the Flatline is definitely the better overall choice, like when you look at like the stats and stuff. And in my mind, it's similar to the R301, like in the sense that it's great for long range and great for close range. It's like versatile, not the best at anything, but like a good middle ground for all ranges. But yeah, with that in mind, I'm going to be putting the Flatline at number 7 on this list. 6 for me is going to be the Havoc. Now, before you all start flaming me in the comments, I honestly think the Havoc is the best assault rifle in the game right now. Because despite the small charge up time this gun has, its rate of fire and damage combined are more than a force to be reckoned with. As with the other energy weapons in the game like the L-Star and the Devotion, the Havoc's recoil is pretty crazy and hard to manage. However, once you get it down, I personally think it can match the Flatline for range. On top of this, it also has a hit scan mode when you get the select fire attachment on it, and while this does have damage fall off, it's one of the only 2 hit scan weapons in the game, with the other being the charge rifle. And on top of this, hitting an opponent in the leg with this hit scan mode does the same as hitting an opponent in the chest with it. Either way, this thing is an absolute laser and a gun that I always love to pick up right now in Season 4. Following the Havoc, and in spot number 5 we have the Peacekeeper. The Peacekeeper always has been and probably will always be the best shotgun and I guess close range weapon in the game. Because with a bit of practice, when you're consistently hitting enemies for 100 plus damage in a single shot, it's just completely unmatched. It pairs well with fast firing close range weapons like SMGs, as obviously you can do like one large chunk of damage with the Peacekeeper and then follow it up with some spray from your close range weapon of choice. It can also work well with long range weapons if you're a little more faithful in your ability to hit multiple shots with it. But yeah, I guess there isn't really too much to say for the Peacekeeper. It's a really simple and strong weapon, and with that in mind, I'm just going to put it at number 5 on this list. At number 4 is going to be the R99. Despite the nerf we got at the beginning of Season 4, it's still one of the better weapons in the game. If you're able to perfect the recoil on this gun, it's probably the best close range gun in the game, and it promotes an aggressive playstyle or one with high mobility, which fits well with some of the kits of the stronger legends in the game right now, like Wraith and Pathfinder. It has the lowest damage per shot out of all the SMGs, however it obviously makes up for this with its incredible fire rate, and like the Wingman, which I'll talk about more in a second, it has pretty fast movement speed while you're aiming down sights compared to other weapons in the game, making it again really good for close range engagements. The R99 has been one of the strongest guns in the game for a while now, and unless a new SMG is added or another situation like the alternate with disruptor rounds happens, I find it hard to see it falling outside of the top 10, as it's again a pretty good all-round gun. Taking third place is going to be the Wingman, probably the most versatile and efficient weapon in the game, as it's incredibly effective at both close and longer ranges if you have good aim. Since it's a semi-auto pistol, you don't need a ridiculous amount of ammo, meaning you have many more slots for meds and nades. Its small size means that there is no movement penalty for moving while aiming down sights, similar to the R99, and it also has perfect hipfire accuracy, once again promoting fast and aggressive playstyle, again like the R99. If you hit a few shots from range, you want to be able to quickly follow up before the enemy heals up, so again you want to be getting in your face with this weapon. Once again, similar to the R99, I don't see the Wingman falling from the higher rankings for a long time, unless Respawn for whatever reason decides to heavily nerf it, which I suppose could happen since they might want to give some other weapons some time in the light. But yeah, the Wingman remains to be one of the strongest weapons in the game to this day. Coming in at the number 2 spot is going to be the Prowler. After receiving a small buff at the beginning of Season 4, and when also taking into account the nerf to the R99, it isn't hard to see why I've ranked the Prowler higher than its light number counterpart on my list. Its burst fire mode is strong enough on its own, but when using the full auto mode with the select fire attachment, it becomes an even stronger weapon. In its burst fire mode, it has a DPS of 200, which is 2 more than that of the R99, which obviously takes into account you hitting all the shots into the body at close range, which very rarely happens, but regardless it does have slightly more DPS than the R99. It does 75 per burst to the body, meaning that at close range just 3 bursts is enough to take down a full health target, or 4 if they are fortified. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, the Prowler is stronger than the R99 for now, although the devs may decide to revert some changes, as the pickup rate of the Prowler is probably going to increase drastically as a result of it, as far as I'm concerned being stronger than the R99 right now. The top spot is going to go to the L-Star, and I think in its current state that surprises absolutely no one. It has incredibly high damage per shot on top of fire rate, and if you learn the recoil pattern, it isn't that hard to manage at longer ranges, even though it is an LMG. If you aren't as confident in your recoil control abilities, the L-Star can also be fired in short bursts, which not only means that the recoil is more predictable and easy to manage, but this also is a way to counter its unique overheat feature, which is really easy to work around if you just pay attention to it. The energy projectiles fired by the L-Star are barely affected by gravity, meaning when taking longer range shots at enemies you don't have to worry too much about aiming above them and counting for bullet drop, although this range isn't exactly optimal for the L-Star. I think it's only a matter of days now until it's nerfed, as its range is more effective than LMGs should be as far as I'm concerned. Sorry about that, but it can easily outclass some of the SMGs at close range if you hit up a few headshots, and it's just like easily the best in the game right now. If you've picked one up yourself recently, you probably would have noted this too. It's just uncontested in basically everything it excels at. Anyway, that's going to wrap up my top 10 for the weapons in Apex Legends. Please do let me know what you guys agreed and disagreed with down below, as well as any future things you want to see on my channel so that I know what to upload to better cater to my audience. But yeah, thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to check out my content, and if you did enjoy this video, I would appreciate it a lot if you could leave a like and subscribe, as well as turning on the notification bell so you can be notified whenever I upload a new video, which hopefully is going to be pretty frequently. But yeah, that'll wrap it up for now, and I'll see you all next time. See ya. Just a quick little editor's note, I guess. The audio I had for this video of me talking was like 9 and a bit minutes long, whereas the gameplay was closer to like 10 and a half, and I wanted to show you all like the full gameplay, my first rank run of the season. So as you can see, the rest of the gameplay is up on the screen now.
Hostile right here. The enemies are shooting. Repairing.
shining bright on me today.
You are the Apex Champions.